Welcome, Matt Mumblane's community, to my kitchen and my home for my first video blog post. I wanted to do this today because I've done a lot of research over the year on brain health and wellness as part of my training for trauma-informed care, but especially for my self-care trainings as well. And in my readings, I've come across certain supplements and superfoods that I think are really great for the brain. And my question out there, I won't put this is more for you to think about your own wellness, but I hope in the future we think about how we can use some of these supplements for the folks we work with as well. Because if they work for our brain to make it healthier from somebody's brain who's struggling to recover from trauma, I think these might play a key role in that healing process. I say might because I'm not a medical professional, and what they say on TV is before you start a supplement routine, make sure you check with your physician or medical provider. So I will say that as a disclaimer as well. Most of this stuff is fairly harmless, but your medical provider will tell you that for sure. So the number one thing on my list, and probably my favorite, is omega-3, especially DHA and EPA. These were found in fish oils for the most part, which was kind of a bummer for us vegetarian vegans. That's a whole different blog post. You can find why I'm that. Until NASA was growing bacteria in space, I think it was, and found that certain bacteria can also create DHA for us vegans as well. And so what DHA does, which is so critically important, is it really helps prefrontal cortex health. Again, when we look at what's damaged with traumatic experiences or even the stress we experience, and for those of us that are getting older, the stress of aging, DHA really keeps our prefrontal cortex functioning well. So biggest thing that I'd say, if you don't have it in your diet, in other words, if you don't eat fish a lot, think about the DHA piece. The EPA is also good for mental health as well, with things like depression is a great supplement for that, and just overall health and mental health as well. So if you're not eating fish a couple times a week, this would be number one in there. This is one I think would be, again, research needs to be done, but really good for people that might be struggling with brain injuries due to trauma, aging, and other things as well. So number one on my list. Number two on my list is turmeric and cumin, things that I have trouble pronouncing. I thank my wife and camera person today, Sarah, for helping me with that. So this is really great for what's called inflammation. Inflammation, we know with trauma and stress, we release this chemical called cytokines. Cytokines can create inflammation in our body and in our brain. There's been a lot of research done recently about how inflammation of the brain can lead to depression and other mental illness as well. So these supplements, really, whether it's pain in the body, but also, again, brain health, are really important as part of any kind of dietary supplement. If you eat a lot of Indian food, it's packed with this as well. So again, supplement form, but if you're eating a lot of curries and stuff like that, you'll get that in a much tastier way. The other piece, and really, I do a whole food vitamins. I know vitamins are a little suspect, multivitamins for folks. Basically what I'm looking for is a few things in here. One is niacin, I think is an important chemical. I'll talk a little bit more about that going forward. And then we've got, I just want the zinc, the magnesium, other things that I think you get in a really good whole food multivitamin that you may not get in your regular diet. So this just kind of, I see this as a catch-all thing. I've been doing this one. It's if you see whole food in the multivitamin, you can usually know that it's a pretty good one as well. So I just throw that in to make sure I catch everything else. The other thing that I do every morning, and I have to thank my sister for this, is lemon juice. I take a lemon juice shot with a little bit of cayenne pepper in it. Now, why a lemon juice shot with cayenne pepper? A few things. Lemon juice, great for the liver, and also helps alkalize the body, which really sets it up at the beginning of the day. If you do some lemon juice first thing in the morning, really helps in many ways waken up the body. Now, The cayenne pepper in the lemon juice shot makes for a pretty substantial puckering face as you take it down. And my dog wants to get in the post as well. So what cayenne pepper does is spicy foods really triggers the immune system to activate. It tricks the immune system into thinking something's wrong with it. And so what the cayenne pepper does is it triggers that immune reaction first thing in the morning. Now my final supplement, and this is one from a nerd perspective that I got all excited about, and it's called Basis from Elysium. Now this thing really looks at a chemical called NDA+. Now this one, again, I don't sell any of these, I don't make any money from these. You might want to check out, again, Basis from Elysium+. This chemical, the NDA+, there's been some amazing animal studies out there that really the mitochondrial DNA, which is the fuel for our cells, starts to break down with age. And what this supplement does, supposedly, even though the research in humans is still really in its infancy, is to stop that process from happening. In other words, stops the aging process in the cells, keeps them young. My whole goal with aging is I would love to be doing something active on my 100th birthday. That's my whole goal with this. This supplement is not cheap. But again, if what we're seeing in animal research does translate into the human population, maybe one of the most exciting things for health that has come out in my lifetime. Again, it's still there, it's not cheap, but a really exciting thing that's happening as well. Okay, so that's how I start my morning out. I take that shot with all those vitamins, get off to a good day. Then I drink this thing, this big, thick thing of shake. Now, what's in my shake? A few things I want to get early on in my diet for my body, my metabolism to kick in. First is I usually use some power greens that you can get at any grocery store. Get those greens in the system, get at that vegetable intake. Also like to throw some broccoli in there. A lot of great research, obviously, around those green leafy vegetables that are good. A few other things that I put in, carrots, I throw some carrots in there just for the vitamin A, and carrots are good for you. A few other things, one is I really like this amazing grass green superfood. Wheatgrass is something that I always have found kind of keeps my body running well, and this has a lot of really good things as well as probiotics as well. So I put a scoop of that in, and just because, and put this out there that I don't eat meat, I throw a little creatine, vegan creatine in there. For you vegetarian vegans out there, this is also great for mitochondria DNA. And creatine's really great for brain health as well. If you eat meat on any kind of regular basis, forget this unless you're a baseball player who's looking to hit 60 home runs. I do one scoop for an entire week, and I've had my blood drawn, and it's right at the creatine levels that we want. Something our liver creates, we don't want too much of it, or unless, again, we're trying to hit 60 home runs. But a really good thing if you don't eat meat in any kind of way. So that gets me there. And then my big favorite thing, the Aztecs used to call this the food of the gods, cacao. I obviously get this in bulk. And this is great fiber. It gives you a nice little, and don't overplay this because it's probably like a cup of coffee more, but a nice euphoric feeling in the morning. Just kind of makes you feel good, wakes you up. A lot of health benefits as far as weight loss, digestive health, but really cool things. And it gives my shake a nice kind of chocolate flavored in a natural way instead of putting a whole bunch of sugar in there as well. Then with my shake, I also, and some of you know because you've seen me drink this in the training, my yerba mate. I've always been a huge green tea fan. I've never been a coffee drinker. My family didn't drink coffee, so I never got into it. Yerba mate, or really any green tea, gives you a ton of antioxidants. It also is a nice way to wake up in the morning, a natural source of caffeine as well. So I usually have that with my shake. And also in my shake, but I also drink this outside, and this will be disgusting for most people, is this beautiful tea mixture I have here that looks like a brain. in a jar, and this is kombucha. And this one right here is a batch that I'm currently brewing. And kombucha is a really great way to get probiotics in your system. The brain-looking stuff is actually a yeast bacteria mix, and so when you look at gut health, which I also have focused a lot on, because a lot of people are now talking about the gut as being our second brain, where we have all these, it's really neurons. I read something the other day that the gut has 9 connections to the brain for every 1 connection the brain has to the gut. Some people actually think that the gut created the brain as a way to make sure that it got the nourishment that it needs. Interesting theory. I don't know if I fully buy into it. But gut health is also important. And so when you think about probiotics or these bacteria, I always, with the research I've done on the second brain or the gut, is really want to make sure that I'm replenishing that bacteria pretty much on a daily basis. So I put a little bit of that bacteria in my shakes in the morning. If that grosses you out, which it is kind of makes it a little slimy, you can buy kombucha now pretty much in most grocery stores that I've seen around the country. A lot of gas stations, not all of them, but you know, you go to California and you definitely find it there. Colorado more and more. Other places is kind of hit and miss. But just a really good way to make sure you're taking care of your gut as well, so your digestive system and everything else. There's also a lot of mental health. Kind of what the research is showing is that we think a lot of mental health is also worry, depression, might be connected to our gut health as well. So just a really good way to take care of that, and really everything here supports that as well. So a lot of people ask me, okay, how do you bring this into your own life? So I just wanted to share, give you the visuals. Not that I support these brand names, but by somebody who sits around, does a lot of research on what's the best. Wanted just to give you an example of some of the conclusions that I've come up with. So you can consider looking at this and Googling online the benefits of these for your own brain health as well. So thank you. I want to thank you for my wife for taking this video and my dog for not barking too much. So I'll see you all next week, and in the blog section for this, I'll also include the write-up of all these so you have them there and don't have to feel like you have to go back and write everything down. So see you next week, everybody. Thanks again, for, as always, for reading and now watching the Matt's Mumbling blog.